The U.S. Federal Reserve announced that it has entered a period of interest rate hikes for the first time in 2 years since it lowered interest rate to zero in March 2020 due to the spread of the novel coronavirus disease. The Fed's stance shows the will of financial authorities to keep up with inflation while the U.S. is experiencing inflation for the first time in decades, with inflation hitting its highest level in 40 years. The Fed raised its key interest rate by 0.25 percentage points for the first time in more than 3 years. This is 3 years and 3 months since last interest rate hikes in December 2018. At the same time, the possibility of starting quantitative austerity measures from May has increased. In particular, it suggested that interest rates could be raised at every 6 meetings remaining this year. The Fed expects U.S. inflation to rise to 4.3% this year, citing inflation control as its top goal. The Fed announced that each regular meeting of the Federal Open Market Committee, which ended on March 16th local time, that it would raise the U.S. benchmark interest rate by 0.25 percentage points from the zero rate of 0.00 to 0.25%. We expect that a continued increase in the target range will be appropriate, the statement said. A raise in interest rate was inevitable in a situation where concerns about inflation were growing as a country emerged from the COVID-19 pandemic. However, due to Russia's invasion of Ukraine, a small 0.25 percentage points increase was chosen instead of a large 0.5 percentage points increase. The Fed inflation forecast for this year reached 4.3%, up 1.7 percentage points from its December 2021 forecast of 2.6%. On the other hand, the real GDP growth forecast was 2.8%, down 1.2 percentage points from the previous meeting. The unemployment rate was maintained at 3.5%. According to the dot plot, an indicator of the future interest rate prospects of FOMC members, the interest rate level at the end of this year is expected to be 1.9%. Also on the dot plot, the predicted level of interest rate at the end of next year is 2.75%, which shows that there may be 3 or 4 rate hikes in 2023. The Federal Reserve has gradually raised interest rates since 2015. The hike continued until December 2018, and from July 2019 it turned to lower interest rate again. The interest rate has been maintained at this level for 2 years after the interest rate was effectively reduced to zero in March 2020 as a response to COVID-19. The Fed also announced that the start of quantitative tightening the Fed said it expects to begin reducing its holdings of government bonds, institutional debt, and mortgage-backed securities at an upcoming meeting.